Why you lie and you cheat and you try to make a fool out of shit?
What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, Joker back again, once again, and currently, Destiny is drier than drinking a bottle of Dasane water in the Sahara Desert on the hottest day of the year. I mean, really, how does Dasane do it? It manages to mimic the effect of drinking salt water without the wonderful flavors of salt water. And when things get dry in Destiny, future DLC tends to get, air quote, leaked. And normally, I don't cover leaks. One, because 99.9% of the time, they're not true. And two, even if they're not true, sometimes they can be fun, but most of the time, they're just not believable or interesting. Like, even if a leak was clearly fake, but it was interesting and made for good content, I wouldn't mind covering it, because it would be fun. But that is seldom the case. That said, just to avoid the Joker, you spoiled Season 15 and Witch Queen for me! Leave now, or forever hold your peace. For everyone else, say hello to who is potentially Savathun. Now, is this real, or is this something a fan whipped up to fuck with the community? Who knows? But let's talk about it, and the other leaks that I wasn't originally going to talk about. But this leak kinda confirms those leaks, so yeah, it's a slow week. What are you gonna do? My first reaction upon seeing this image was to dismiss it as fake. I mean, the piece just looks unfinished. While it uses a lot of the same stylings as posters in the past, it just doesn't look done. Now, of course, this could be because it's super zoomed in, and it's meant to be seen from a drawn-out distance, with Witch Queen Survive the Truth and the release date sprawled across the side like virtually every promotional banner ever. Or it could just be a piece of concept art, or it could be fake. But then, there's the ghost. Savathun's ghost. You heard me correctly. I said Savathun's ghost. It's already been stated in the lore that this is Savathun's endgame, but more on that later. This image ties to another leak that was originally shared on the Raid Secrets Discord back in April of 2021. A notepad document containing details from Season 13 all the way up to Witch Queen. Some of these details have come true. Now, before we start talking about Witch Queen proper, I'm gonna hold the fun bus back the fuck up a bit, because we have a plot outline for Season 15 as well, and let's just say they're kinda sorta connected. Alrighty then, so Season 15 will be known as Season of the Lost. It will see the return of Mara Zov and the conclusion of the Dreaming City plotline. As I've stated in other videos, this makes perfect sense. Forsaken is set to be content vaulted when Lightfall is released, going free for the next year, meaning Season 15 is quite literally the last opportunity that Bungie has to square the Dreaming City circle, as seasonal DLC is also vaulted after 1 year. But we continue. The narrative of Season 15, however, will focus around killing Savathun. Dun dun dun! That's right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages. According to these leaks, Savathun will die in Season 15. Season 15 narrative. Savathun is killed in Season 15 when we help her rid her of her worm, so she can be revived by a ghost, fulfilling that whole devotion, bravery, sacrifice thing. They don't want her to steal the light so they can keep the Traveler and the Black Fleet morally gray. So is this even possible? Could Savathun die and be resurrected? Well, have you read the Retrofuturist lore card? They were so optimistic about us. I watched them frolic blithely beneath their oblivious god. I'm among those assembled to witness their training. They wish to become stronger than the Cabal, than Ziva Arath, than the Hive. Their ignorance of their true enemy is overwhelming. They can't even put a name to it. I am choked with rancid ambrosia. 2 men now remain in the artificial battleground. Their movements are simplistic. One charges blindly ahead. The other rolls to the side, fires a shotgun, and his opponent falls. The victor turns to the crowd and removes his helmet. Oily fluids bead on the flesh of his face. He bares his teeth that squirm with microbial life. He throws his arms upward in jubilation, and the masses cheer. I do not join them. This form affords me some dignities. Behind the creature reveling in minor triumph, sacrilege, a perfect being materializes. It gathers metal and offal from the ground and reassembles it. An unfathomable gift is given. The crowd has seen this miracle countless times. It has lost all meaning to them. They see it as a resource. I look up into the black-white face. I feel its light on my cheeks. It no longer burns me. Each revival is a choice. I know what to do. So yeah, that's Savathun's plan, to become a guardian. It also makes sense as to why she's taken such an interest in Crow. Crow, relatively speaking, is newly risen, so it makes sense that Savathun would want to study that phenomenon, which ties into Season 15. In Season 15, we find out that Osiris was replaced by Savathun, and she's been behind most of the events of the year. Gasp, shock, horror, lightning crackle, lightning crackle, lightning crackle. We find this out in Season 15, and Savathun says that she will give us back the real Osiris if we help her get rid of her worm. When we do that, the Traveler gives her the light, and now the Hive have guardians. No, seriously, the Hive will now have guardians. The new Hive will be called Lucent Lieutenants, and they get light attacks, and are not friendly allies. On top of that, the culmination of Crow and Osiris/Savathun's story comes to a head, with Crow interacting with Marazov and Savathun Osiris. Savosiris. Osirathun. In one of my theory videos, I theorized that Savathun, for some reason, will help Crow get his memories back. My original thought process for this was that if Savathun was our ally, and she built up this relationship with Crow over the last year, she might want to give him his memories back as a sort of gift. If she's our enemy, she might want to give Crow his memories back in order to break him. However, a third option has now presented itself. If Savathun removes her worm and dies, and is then resurrected by a ghost because, fuck you, that's why, it's all kinda sorta meaningless, because Savathun would have no memories of being Savathun. So Savathun would probably want to know if she could get her memories back before taking the plunge. Hence, Crow. But how about that part where it states, new Hive called Lucent Lieutenants get light attacks and are not friendlies? Which, can we just stop for a moment and talk about how fucking stupid that title is if it's true? Like, Bungie, workshop that a little more, please. God, that's dumb. But I digress. Is this possible? Well, ghosts are not necessarily known for their wise choices when it comes to resurrecting guardians. See the Warlords. On top of that, Toland and Dredgen Yor and all the other Dredgens and the player character have all been playing around with Hive magic since day one of Destiny. And we now wield the darkness. So I don't think the argument should be, can a Hive be resurrected? It's a fictional universe and Bungie can do whatever the fuck they want. I think the question should be, why would a ghost resurrect a Hive? Well, that would be the fastest way of showing the gray morality of the Traveler. A weapon is a weapon is a weapon. And just because the light has brought something back doesn't mean it's going to be on our side. Again, see the Warlords. And this has been something the Drifter has talked about for a while now. Ghosts pretend to be our friends, but really, in the Great War, Guardians are little more than a means to an end, and one means to an end is just as valid as the next. But moving forward to Witch Queen. Release date, February 22nd, 2022, which is a Tuesday in more ways than one. 2/22/2022. The themes for Witch Queen are Southern Gothic and Detective. We are piecing things together, a Twin Peak vibe. Internal tagline of Survive the Truth, which did turn out to be the tagline for Witch Queen, so if this leak is actually as old as it claims to be, well, that does add some validity to it. First mission overview. You go to Mars. It's stuck in a past, grassy, present, future, Taken Rift. You come up to the peak of a hill, where you see the Dreadnought for the first time. I assume this refers to Savathun's Dreadnought, not Oryx's Dreadnought, unless Savathun hijacked Oryx's Dreadnought, with Keitel's fleet fighting the Hive in the skybox. Very, Phobos Missiony. Working with Ikora Ray, you launch yourself with a man cannon into the ship. This is where you fight a Hive Guardian for the first time. You then find the portal to Savathun's throne world on board. You go through it, find Savathun, who sends you straight back to Mars. So, this is kind of easy to dismiss at first. I mean, launching ourselves into space on man cannons. Oh wait, do they mean the Warmind satellite launchers? Because those fuckers can launch satellites all over the cosmos. And that'd be very, very fucking Doom-esque.
The Ion Catapult is designed to use only approved UAC ammunition. Override loading sequence. Fire. 3, 2, 1.
But moving forward to a couple more bullet points that we're just going to cover all together. Savathun tricks us into giving her memories back using her deep sight, as when she was revived by her ghost, she lost them. She tries to trick the traveler into her throne world, attempting to cut off the outside universe from its light, using a big bowl. Said bowl is where the strike will be. After defeating Savathun in the campaign, she tells you the witness is coming. The traveler then takes her body and her ghost escapes. The witness reveals itself. I have seen enough. I am coming. At the end of the campaign, the pyramid ship will activate, starting the road to the raid. On the face of it, that all sounds nonsensical, but then again, maybe it's because the formatting is bullet points. That said, a year ago, if you would have told me that Taniks the Scarred would be the raid boss in Beyond Light instead of the Darkness, I would have thought you were fucking crazy, But here's where this kind of falls apart for me. If Savathun is revived as a guardian, how does she know to go back to her throne world? I guess you could assume there was a contingency plan in place, Total Recall style, where being the sneaky one that she is, she set everything in motion after her death to be brought back, maybe even through her ghost. On top of that, her having a throne world while being a guardian isn't that weird. Both Toland and Marazov do have a throne world of sorts. You don't need to be an Ascendant Hive to have a throne world. Technically speaking, if we wanted to have a throne world, we could have a throne world. Hey Bungie, throne world player housing when? So the question boils down to ultimately, could Savathun have total recalled herself into tricking us to help her regain her memories? Sure, why not, but why? To what end? I understand wanting to be you and have all your memories back and be free of your worm, but still have immense power and be unto a god. I get it. That makes sense to me. But then, why seemingly attack the Traveler? She's no longer bound by her compact to carry out the Darkness's will. So, why? Revenge for a slight? Probably a misunderstanding? Eons in the making? Okay, I guess, but we're just gonna stop you. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Savathun can't be that hyper-intelligent and that dumb at the same time. If I was to try to puzzle it out, we do know that there is a third force in the war for existence. We've called it the Nothing because Callus calls it the Nothing, but we also call the light and the darkness, or the Traveler in the darkness, where they apparently call themselves the Gardener and the Winnower. So maybe an argument could be made that Savathun knows of this power, wants to take all the power that she can in order to fight back against it, because she doesn't believe that we'll be able to. Or maybe in her own weird way, she sought to protect the Traveler. Taking it off the board and hiding it would accomplish that. Who knows? Well, I guess we don't actually have that long to wait to find out, because we'll know as soon as Season 15 starts. So what do I think of it all? Well, one of the first red flags I point to when looking at leaks is just how well it fits into established lore and the established story. Like, somebody actually read the lore and came up with this plot. I don't say that to be insulting, but Destiny expansions tend to be weirdly connected to the story and the overall universe. For example, Shadowkeep had all the hallmarks of dealing with Savathun and Ziva Arath, and being the next expansion after Forsaken, it was the logical conclusion. Except nope, not at all. The Savathun plot was put on hiatus for years while we segued to pyramid ships, whose plot was then put on hiatus for years while we dealt with Savathun. Speaking of plots being put on hold before Beyond Light came out, we got Season of the Arrivals, and the pyramid ships are finally here. So we're gonna get new enemies and new powers, right? That's what Beyond Light's going to be about. Nope. Some fallen chick with a stick up her ass has harnessed the darkness, and we must kill her. Also, Tannix is the raid boss. Talk about your narrative digressions. Look, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, if this leak pans out, it would be the most direct continuation of a Destiny plotline in the history of Destiny. That said, what else could Witch Queen be about? I mean, think about it. We know two things. One, Savathun wants to be rid of her worm. And two, she thinks becoming a guardian will help her keep her immortality and power. The only hiccup is the memory loss issue. So a DLC or a set of DLCs that deal with Savathun dying, being resurrected, and getting her memories back, that makes sense. As for the other things mentioned here, well, Savathun has been around for a long time, and she's felt betrayed by the darkness for eons. Wouldn't she want revenge? I mean, her whole entire quest started out as revenge against the Traveler. That said, with her immortality now tied to the Traveler, I don't see her wanting to destroy the Traveler. Maybe the darkness, but not the Traveler. So maybe she brings the Traveler, or wants to bring the Traveler, into her throne world to protect the Traveler so it can't be destroyed, thus ensuring her immortality. We also have to consider the third player in the great game, the Nothing or the Witness. I will say that the Witness is a little too on the nose, given that the darkness is represented by a woman blinded by a veil over her. The Witness? Really? That said, it could also be a reference to the player. Follow me for a second. During Season of the Splicer, we're told to go to the Fallen Quarter and help smooth over relations between the Fallen of House Light and Lakshmi. The mission is just titled Witness, and that's what we do. We go there, we stand, we witness or explain the story, and we have no interaction whatsoever. In fact, that's kind of the way Destiny storytelling's always been. We witness the story, as opposed to actively engaging in it past being a gopher. Go kill this, go kill that, go get this, go get that. That's all our real interaction with the story. Everyone else either talks to one another or at us. We have very little agency when it comes to the narrative of Destiny. On top of that, Savathun, in my opinion, is very much aware of the player character. We see this both in lore and in real life. This is something I extrapolate more on in my Savathun Queen of All Things Taken video. So ultimately, is this scenario of events even possible within Destiny lore? Yes. But just like with every leak, take it with an Iron Banner-sized pile of salt. This could just be a well-crafted fanfiction with a piece of art somebody did, and only time will tell. At the time of recording this video, it has not come out as a prank. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Remember to like, but only if you did, subscribe for more. Feel free to donate to my Patreon if you're feeling particularly generous, but above all else, stay frosty.